You know the story we've all been taught, right? The pyramids were just these massive, magnificent tombs for Egyptian kings, built by millions of slaves. But what if that's the greatest lie in history? Today, we're diving deep into a book that claims to have cracked an ancient code, one that reveals a truth about our past that could literally change everything we think we know. So let's pull back the curtain and see what history might have gotten completely wrong. Okay, so let's just start with the one huge central question this book throws at us. What if these giant structures weren't designed for the dead, but were actually built for the living? What if they weren't tombs at all, but machines? I mean, that's the core idea right there, and it challenges centuries of accepted history. And here it is, the two stories side by side. On one hand, you've got the official version we all learned in school, and on the other, this absolutely radical claim that the pyramids were highly advanced power plants, part of a global network built by a civilization that history has just completely forgotten. The book makes a really bold claim here. One of these stories isn't just wrong, it's a deliberate lie designed to hide a world-changing truth. Which brings us right to our first section, titled Mahan Jut, or The Great Lie. The book argues that the whole tomb theory is actually incredibly weak. And the single biggest piece of evidence? Get this. Despite all the pyramids that have been explored, not one single untouched mummy of a pharaoh has ever been discovered inside one. Yeah, the sarcophagi are there, but they're empty. The few remains they did find are now believed to have been put there much, much later. The book uses this amazing analogy to really make its point. Imagine if humans 5,000 years from now uncovered the ruins of, say, a nuclear research facility. With no concept of atomic energy, they might just decide it was some strange, blocky temple for a forgotten god. The author claims we are doing the exact same thing with the pyramids. We're looking at a supercomputer and seeing a stone box, all because our own worldview just hasn't caught up yet. So, okay, if they aren't just giant piles of rock, what are they? Well, this leads us to our second section, Patrome Shiba Code, or the code hidden in stone. According to this book, these things are basically living textbooks of mathematics, geometry, and astronomy. Their location, their angles, their height, the author insists none of it is random. It's all part of a very precise code, a message left for the future. And here's where the evidence gets almost, well, eerily precise. It all seems to come down to one specific number, 43,200. Now listen to this. If you take the height of the Great Pyramid of Giza and multiply it by this number, you get the Earth's polar radius. Then, if you take the perimeter of its base and multiply it by that very same number, you get the Earth's equatorial circumference. I mean, could that kind of precision, that perfect scaling of our planet, really be a coincidence? So the crucial point here is that this isn't just about one calculation. The builders encoded these universal constants throughout the entire structure. We're talking pi, the golden ratio, a precise knowledge of our planet's size, and alignments to constellations that are perfect to the arcsecond. This is not the work of simple laborers. The book argues this is proof that they were master mathematicians who truly understood the fundamental language of the universe. All right, now let's zoom out, way out. Section 3 is the Hermetic Energy Network, or Earth's Energy Network, and this is where the theory goes global. The book suggests the Great Pyramid wasn't a standalone project at all. It was actually the central power plant in a planet-wide wireless energy grid designed to harness and transmit the natural frequencies of the Earth itself. Now, to understand this network, we need to talk about ley lines. The theory presented here is that these are invisible lines of energy crisscrossing the globe. You can think of them like the planet's own nervous system. They connect these vortex points where the Earth's electromagnetic energy is strongest, creating a kind of natural power grid. And when you start plotting these ancient wonders on a map, like you see here, this absolutely astonishing pattern emerges. They all seem to fall right on these ley lines. Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, Easter Island, the list just goes on and on. And the Great Pyramid itself? It sits right at the geographic center of Earth's landmass, perfectly positioned as the main hub of this entire system. The text proposes they acted as harmonic resonators, built with quartz-rich granite specifically to tap into this energy. This suggests a coordinated global construction project. This idea of a global network points to a really staggering conclusion, which brings us to Section 4, Koi Hui Sabetha, the Lost Civilization. I mean, if this planet-wide system existed thousands of years ago, then who on Earth could have possibly built it? The answer, the book argues, doesn't lie in our recorded history, but in a forgotten one. So this slide really lays out the two competing timelines. You've got mainstream history, which places the pyramid's construction around 4,500 years ago for Pharaoh Khufu. But then the book presents astronomical alignments, especially with the constellation Orion, that date it much, much further back, to around 12,500 years ago. And that date isn't random. It aligns almost perfectly with the timeline that Plato gave for the sinking of Atlantis, a legendary, advanced civilization supposedly swallowed by the sea. So, how did they build these things with such impossible precision? The book dismisses the idea of just brute force and instead proposes a technology we would probably call magic, acoustic levitation. The theory is that the ancients understood that everything, and I mean everything, vibrates at a specific frequency. By using chants and instruments to generate powerful, resonant sound waves, they could actually counteract gravity and make multi-ton stone blocks virtually weightless. So what was the ultimate purpose of this incredible technology? Section 5, Chetanaki machine, or the consciousness machine, reveals what might be the book's most profound claim. The energy network wasn't just for power, in the electrical sense. Its primary function wasn't to change the outer world, but to completely transform the inner world of human beings. The book describes the pyramid as a powerful tool for spiritual initiation. A candidate would lie down in the sarcophagus inside the king's chamber, which is acoustically perfect to resonate at a very low frequency. This infrasound would vibrate the very water in their cells and directly affect their brainwave patterns, inducing a deep, transcendental state. The goal was to trigger a kind of spiritual death and rebirth, the ancient alchemical process of turning the lead of a limited human ego into the gold of an enlightened being. This brings us to our final section, Asli Khazana, which means the real treasure. And after all this talk of ancient technology and cosmic secrets, the book's final message is surprisingly deeply personal. It argues that the pyramids aren't just a mystery out there to be solved, but a mirror reflecting a potential that lies dormant inside each and every one of us. So if this incredible knowledge really existed, where did it all go? Well, the book claims it was seen as dangerous. And why? Because if individuals can access a higher consciousness all on their own, they don't need priests or kings to tell them what to believe. That made this wisdom a direct threat to the power structures of the time. The text even suggests the burning of the Library of Alexandria wasn't some accident, but a deliberate act in a great cover-up to edit history and bury this empowering truth forever. And this brings us right to the book's ultimate conclusion. The entire mystery of the pyramids, the secret of Atlantis, the code of the ancients, it all points inward. It's a treasure map, but X doesn't mark a spot in the desert. The author's final argument is that you are the code that needs to be deciphered. You are the lost civilization waiting to be rediscovered. You are the treasure. You see, the pyramids may have been a technology to accelerate the journey, but the journey itself is timeless. It's available to everyone, right here, right now. So the book leaves us with this final, powerful question. It suggests that we're all like that traveler who searches the entire world for a treasure only to come home and find it was buried in their own backyard all along. The real treasure is self-knowledge. So the only question left is, when will you begin to dig?